everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is my Forbes colleague, money and politics reporter, Kyle Khan-Mullins. Kyle, thanks so much for joining me.
Always great to be here, Brittany. Thanks for having me.
You have some reporting on the net worth of Barron Trump. As we know, Barron Trump is the president's 19-year-old son. But before we get to the financials here, before we get to the numbers, I want to talk about him and his relationship with his father. Publicly, we've seen the least from Barron Trump compared to the other Trump kids. So what do we know about the president's youngest son in general, A, and B, when it comes to the relationship with his father, both business and professional?
So personally, on that personal relationship, we don't actually know a ton. Like you said, Barron has kind of stayed under the radar for most of his life. That's reportedly because his mother, Melania, liked it that way. She kind of wanted to keep him out of the spotlight, especially while he was still a kid. And she's also apparently reportedly renegotiated her prenup with her husband, taken other actions to sort of set Barron up better. And that seems to be paying off recently. Barron is starting to come out of that shell that was built around him a little bit. There's some good reporting that suggests he played an advisory role on the Trump campaign in terms of trying to help them gin up the youth vote for Trump. And Donald Trump has said as much. He said that Barron advised him to go on Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and these other podcasts on the manosphere. And Barron was apparently a key element of pushing him to go do that. And then Barron also apparently played a role in swinging his father toward the crypto industry, which has been fabulously lucrative for Trump and his sons, Barron included.
I want to talk about that swing because, as we know, from President Trump's first term to his second term, we have seen him go from bearish to bullish on crypto. In his first term, Trump said cryptocurrencies aren't real money and that, quote, their value is highly volatile and based on thin air. In his second term, that was a different story, and President Trump vowed to be the first ever crypto president. So how much can we attribute that 180 when it comes to crypto on Barron Trump?
It seems that Barron does deserve some major credit here. Trump has famously said that Barron taught him what a wallet is, a crypto wallet, which is the sort of digital thing that holds cryptocurrency. But we shouldn't underplay other factors. The crypto industry, after disagreements with the Biden administration on regulation, they backed Trump to the hilt in 2024, hoping to get him elected. And so now that he's in office, Trump seems pretty keen to reward them for their support. That said, it's also key that Trump is a crypto magnate himself, and he and his son, and his other two sons, Eric and Don Jr., are all in business together in crypto. So I think these things are all kind of working together here.
Let's talk about that business and that venture a little bit. World Liberty Financial is the crypto venture that's associated with the Trump family. So talk to us about the relationship between World Liberty Financial and the First family, and how much exactly have they made from that venture? Because I have talked to you, I've talked to other Forbes reporters, and the Trump family have made quite the windfall from crypto.
Absolutely. And I should say here, all credit to my colleague, Dan Alexander. He's the one who is really the brains behind this Trump in crypto valuation operation here. So World Liberty was founded less than 2 months before the election last year, and it didn't really have much success until Trump actually won the election. Then sales took off, and it's now a pretty major industry player. It has its own currency. It has its own stable coin that's pegged to the US dollar. We can talk a little bit more about that. And so all of that, we estimate at Forbes, has funneled billions of dollars in total to Trump and his three sons, Eric, Don Jr., and Barron. And they're all listed, the three of them are listed as co-founders at World Liberty Financial. As of earlier this year, Trump owned 70% of the Trump family entity that has a major stake in World Liberty Financial. And we're estimating that the three brothers own the other 30%, or 10% each. So that's 10% for Eric, 10% for Don Jr., and 10% for Barron. That's Forbes' estimate. And so we estimate that Trump himself has seen his net worth increase by about $2 billion thanks to cryptocurrency just in the last year. And that's split roughly evenly between World Liberty Financial, which we're going to talk more about, and the meme coin, the $ Trump that he released in January. That has made him lots of money as well. Eric and Don Jr. and Barron, they don't have any stake in the meme coin that we know of, but we do estimate that they've made about $150 million or so from World Liberty each. And that's not showing signs of slowing down anytime soon.
I want to talk about how you got to that number, because Forbes is estimating Barron Trump, only 19 years old, is now worth $150 million exclusively from crypto. How are you getting that?
Yeah, that $150 million, that is the main number here for Barron. That's our official estimate of his net worth. And again, a lot of these estimates are based on Dan Alexander's math on the crypto companies. So that he's really the reporting here is coming from him. There's a couple of buckets of money there in the $150 million. The first is cash that they've gotten from selling World Liberty Financial tokens. And we estimate that that's about $80 million after taxes, about half of which came from a single deal with a crypto treasury company called Alt5 Sigma. They made that deal in August. That pulled in about $40 million for each of the three kids, and then even more for the president. And that cash has been, I mean, that's liquid cash. He can turn around and invest that in whatever he wants. The second bucket of money is the stablecoin business. So as a reminder, stablecoin is a crypto asset that's backed by real world assets to tie it to a real currency. So the Trump's is USD1. It's backed, usually these things are backed by things like treasury bills or something. And it's tied to the US dollar. So one USD1 is one US dollar. Forbes estimate that business, which makes money off of the real assets that the cryptocurrency is tied to, that business is worth about $880 million. And so Barron's share of that is about $34 million. And then finally, we have World Liberty tokens that Barron owns himself. The Trump family got 22.5 billion tokens when they started the company last year. And so if Barron owns 10%, that's 2.25 billion. They trade for about 20 cents each right now on the public markets, but Barron's are still locked up and can't be sold. So we discount those really, really heavily, again, because they can't be sold right now. So that's a final about $45 million we estimate. And so all of that together, that's the cash, the stable coin, and the tokens he owns himself, that all adds up to a little over $150 million.
And I've had conversations about World Liberty Financial with Dan Alexander, with our colleague Zach Everson. I'm curious what is next for that crypto venture, because, I mean, it has just ballooned Barron Trump's net worth. And what do you think is next for Barron Trump? Do you see his net worth just continuing to skyrocket?
I mean, I do. World Liberty keeps announcing new crypto initiatives all the time. Any one of those could end up exploding into something really, really lucrative for them. We do expect this fortune to keep going up. There is one big caveat here, though. There was a court filing back in January, and it suggested that the Trumps may have reduced their stakes in World Liberty. They may have sold their stakes to someone else. And if that's true, then these numbers might be off. But we don't know for sure, and we don't know if this sale ever went through or if that even happened. And we won't know until we see more financial disclosures from the president, which we're going to have to wait until next year for. But assuming our math is correct, and Dan's math is usually correct, I would anticipate these fortunes continuing to grow.
Well, per usual, Kyle, I appreciate your reporting. I appreciate the conversation. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks again, Brittany. Always great to be here.